You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark. It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
Geez, Seymour. We got to pay for that glass. Come on, man. Oh, he's killing me. Good evening, everybody. Welcome in. Seymour, go sit in the corner. Seymour the intern. Damn it. Keeps breaking all my glass. We normally just do one a show, but he's dropping them all, it seems. All right, well, welcome in. It's great to be back with you. Last week was Toxic Masculinity, so it was a break from this and still on the air, but, you know, it was a lot of fun. We crowned a new Babe of the Month, and now she's on vacation because that's how we roll at Toxic Masculinity. And no, it's not a perk of the show, so don't start lighting my DMs up looking to be the next Babe. Yeah, Rick would probably have a fit because that would be KLRN funded.
Oh yeah, we could send them on a vacation to their closest Walmart parking lot.
Walmart parking lot. That could be 100 miles for some folks.
Well, in that case, they better find a closer place to go.
All right. Anyway, great to be back with you guys. Thank you for being here with us. Look, as I mentioned, Fu is on vacation, but Fu Bar will go on as planned with Orty running the show, and he'll be second seated by Martini Shark. So you're not going to want to miss that right after me tonight. There is no Dan and Rick tonight. But there is America Off the Rails at its normal time. Correct, Rick?
Negative. I'm actually moving America Off the Rails into the Robinson and Wright slot tonight since Dan's not going to be on.
Okay, so America Off the Rails right after Fu Bar, and then you can go to bed because then it'll be over. So, you know, that's how it is tonight. Sorry. Our prayers are with Dan and his family as they endure the loss that they are right now, and you know, prayers to them, strength, anything we can do, y'all let us know. But for us here, we're about to get this show rolling, and we're going to start tonight with a little taste of Roe v. Wade and pro-life argument and all that good stuff, because everybody loves that, right? The correct answer is right. We are pro-life here. All life is worth fighting for. The state of Alabama is the latest Republican-leaning state to enact a strict abortion ban as conservatives take aim at the 1973 United States Supreme Court decision that legalized abortion. They are energized and encouraged by conservatives on the Supreme Court. Abortion opponents hope to ignite new legal battles that could prompt the Supreme Court to revisit Roe v. Wade. I think this is a bit of wishful thinking on their part, but I think in listening to the Alabama lawmaker that introduced this bill yesterday, his whole intent is to get this case in front of the Supreme Court. He knows he's going to be challenged in court. He just wants to go to the Supreme Court to make his argument. So, I can't say that I blame him, but I think he's being a little overly optimistic. And I just, as much as I would like to see it overturned, I don't see it being overturned. They introduced the legislation yesterday that would make performing an abortion at any stage of pregnancy a felony unless the mother's health is in jeopardy. Now, this comes after Kentucky and Mississippi approved bans on abortion once a fetal heartbeat is detected, which happens as soon as the 6th week of pregnancy. In other states, including Georgia and South Carolina, other bills and bans could be enacted. I know South Carolina is one of the states that's pushing legislation right now through its state house as well. The Alabama bill goes even further, though, and it would ban all abortions and include exemptions for the health of the mother, but not for rape and incest. Touchy subject. It simply criminalizes abortion, said bill sponsor Representative Terry Collins. Hopefully it takes it all the way to the Supreme Court. And, again, the hope is to overturn Roe v. Wade, ultimately. And quite frankly, I don't see anything in the Constitution. And again, I'm not a scholar, so I could be missing something, but I don't see anything in the Constitution that enumerates the power of abortion to the federal government. And by that, it should be a state's right at that point. So, for what it's worth, they're moving forward with this. The text of the bill in Alabama likened legalized abortion to history's greatest atrocities, including the Holocaust, which, why can't we just let it stand on its own for what it is? We don't have to compare it to anything. The bill has more than 60 co-sponsors in the 105-member Alabama House of Representatives. Stacey Fox, the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Southeast, called the legislation a death sentence for women across the state. Beyond that, these bans are blatantly unconstitutional and lawmakers know it. They just don't care. Alabamians are just pawns in this political game to challenge access to safe, legal abortion nationally. Funny. They don't use that word rare anymore. They don't say rare anymore. Georgia's new governor is considering whether to sign a law banning abortion once a fetal heartbeat is detected. More than 50 Hollywood actors, and I say actors in hand quotes, including Alyssa Milano, Alec Baldwin, and Amy Schumer, sent a letter threatening to pull business out of Georgia, a hub for television and movie production, if the ban is enacted. Now, quite frankly, I've seen the list of people that are threatening Georgia. Georgia's losing nothing doing this. Movie studios have invested millions and millions and millions of dollars in Georgia already, building studios and production facilities. They're not simply going to just walk away because a bunch of B and C list actors are upset. So, for what that's worth, I think the Georgia bill gets signed. But that's just my opinion. We'll see what happens. A South Carolina House subcommittee bill passed Tuesday that would ban almost all abortions if a fetal heartbeat is detected. Opponents argued the bills are ultimately futile and losing court battles will leave the states with hefty legal bills. Vicki Ringer, Director of Public Affairs for Planned Parenthood South Atlantic, says the problem is that the bill is unconstitutional. They keep throwing that out there. We'll have to see about this. I don't know what in the Constitution guarantees a right to an abortion. Asked about proposing. Excuse me, hang on a second here. Wow. Asked about proposing something clearly in conflict with current Supreme Court decisions, Collins, who previously sponsored heartbeat legislation in Alabama, said the whole point is to get the courts to relook at the issue. I think people are seeing a possibility that the Supreme Court might have a more conservative-leaning balance. Yeah, I mean, I would say that's accurate. But again, conservative-leaning doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily be willing to overturn something like this. Personal beliefs and legalities are two very different things. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And I apologize for that break just a second ago there. I had one of my cats jumped up and latched onto my leg and hit my keyboard, moving my notes. Just one of those things. Anyway. Janet Seymour. I swear to God, I'm about to just cut his steak-um off completely. Anyway. All right, so we're going to move along. Next up, Creepy Uncle Joe. Dun, dun, dun. Look, former Vice President Joe Biden's camp is scrambling to contain any political damage over his past behavior with women. Even House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had some words for Joe, saying, "Keep your distance and keep your hands to yourself. Join the Straight Arm Club," she said at a breakfast hour event in Washington on Tuesday. I mean, is there anybody that's not unloading on this guy right now? In other words, keep your handshakes at arm's length and don't be touchy-feely, she said. Just pretend you have a cold and I have a cold. So even President Trump's weighed in on the matter with a little more sarcasm. He said, "Welcome to the world, Joe." He said, "You having a good time, Joe?" Trump himself has denied multiple accusations of sexual misconduct on his own part. But, Biden's got some pretty stout video and photograph stuff out there that really doesn't look good. Now,
hey, where are the white women at?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd like to know that too. But, again, Speaker Pelosi said Biden has to understand that in the world we are in now, people's space is important to them, and what's important is how they receive it, not necessarily how you intend it. So, I mean, everybody's talking about this. Her remarks at an event sponsored by Politico came as Biden's aides are striking a more aggressive tone as he considers seeking the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination. Now, I saw the video that Biden dropped today, and if you pay attention to the video, everybody wanted to see what he was going to say.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.
Well, I'm sure there was some of that in it too. But more importantly than what he said is how it was worded. If you go back and watch the video, Listen to how he puts himself into position. Joe Biden is running for president. He just hasn't declared yet. And his language in this video is very clear that he intends to do this. If he can get this damage to pass without it getting any worse than it is right now, Joe Biden will run. And that you can take to the bank. But in a statement Monday, Biden spokesman Bill Russo blasted right-wing trolls, hand quotes, right-wing trolls, from, quote, the dark recesses of the internet. Let me tell you something, Mr. Russo. This isn't right-wing people doing this. This is the far left doing this. They don't want to have a presidential race with two fairly wealthy old white men in it. They don't want that. And if they do have to have an old white man in it that has some wealth, they want him to be Bernie, who's at least on the socialist side of all the issues. Whereas Biden, Biden is a good Democrat, okay? He's a solid Democrat. He's not a socialist. He's not an extreme leftist. Basically, they're viewing him as a moderate centrist. We know Joe Biden is not a moderate centrist, but we also know he's not a flaming lunatic like Alexandria Occasional Cortex. Credit to my friend Al for that. But really, 2 women, now 4 women, have said that Biden touched them inappropriately in the past. One of them was a former aide to Democratic Representative Jim Himes of Connecticut, said that Biden touched her face with both hands and rubbed noses in 2009. Former Nevada politician Lucy Flores penned a magazine essay last week in which she wrote that Biden kissed her on the back of the head. And all this is developing, and it underscores the challenge facing Biden. Should he seek the nomination on the Democratic side for presidency? And again, if you listen to the video, Joe Biden's going to run, assuming nothing gets worse. They did a great job of writing Joe a speech that is both showing contrition and yet not accepting any real responsibility for doing anything wrong. Again, as I mentioned, the photographs, we've seen them. There's a video montage out there. I think Grabian put one together. You can check this out. There are some very, very questionable looking things that Joe Biden has done physically. Here's the problem, though. And I don't want to, actually I do want to, because Joe Biden has not been convicted of anything. And less than that, Joe Biden has never even been accused of any kind of sexual predatory behavior. And if you know anything about sexual predators, the one thing that you know is that that behavior is habitual. If this man were a sexual predator of any kind, somebody somewhere out there would have come forward and accused him already. Is Joe Biden too handsy, too touchy-feely, too quick to lean in for a hug or a kiss? Yeah, probably so. Is it creepy? Yeah, definitely so. But let's not get carried away trying to make this something that it probably isn't. Now, if something surfaces, by God, and you can prove it, bring it. Because we know for a fact that right now, heading into the Democratic primary season, the people that aren't going to give Biden a break are his own people. The right doesn't care. The political right couldn't give a damn if the 20 Democratic candidates eat each other for lunch and spit bones out on their stages at the debates and go through this process to where there's so much dirty laundry and extra baggage and unhealed wounds that there's no way they can survive a general election. Again, it goes back to my saying, this is coming from the left, not the right. So, Lapos told the Associated Press that she and other Himes aides were helping out at a fundraiser in a private home in Hartford, Connecticut in 2009 when Biden entered the kitchen to thank the group for pitching in. After he finished speaking, he stopped to talk to us about how important a congressional staff is, which I thought was awesome, said Lapos. She was stunned as Biden moved toward her. He wrapped his hands around my face and pulled me in, and I thought, oh God, he's going to kiss me. Instead, he rubbed noses with me. He said nothing and then moved off. She said the experience left her feeling weird and uncomfortable and was absolutely disrespectful of my personal boundaries. Again, they describe Biden as overly affectionate. I can see that. And that doesn't make it right. But it also doesn't make him a stone cold perv either. Just let the facts come out. The Hartford Courant first reported Lapos' assertion. Russo, Biden's spokesman, didn't directly respond to Lapos, instead referring to a Sunday statement in which Biden said he doesn't believe he has acted inappropriately during his long public life. The former vice president said in that statement, "We have arrived at an important time when women feel they can and should relate their experiences, and men should pay attention, and I will." Okay? See, listen, not I am paying attention, I will pay attention. He's talking about moving forward. This is him already tipping his hat that he's going to run. Yeah, I know you're thinking to yourself, how do you know that? That's just the way it's worded. Trust me, I've been to profiling classes with the federal government. I know how they write. I know how they speak. I know when people mean things when they say them. I know when people don't mean things when they say them. It was part of the training. Biden officially hasn't made a final decision on whether to run for the White House, but aides who weren't authorized to discuss internal conversations and spoke on the condition of anonymity, damn it, Seymour, I hate that stuff, said there were no signs that his team was slowing its preparations for a campaign. I'm telling you, if he can get this behind him with no further damage, he runs. Asked on Monday by the Associated Press about the accusations against Biden, Pelosi said, "I don't think that this disqualifies him from running for president, not at all." Biden's potential Democratic rivals haven't rushed to back him up, though. Senator Kamala Harris of California said Tuesday that she believed his accusers, but that it's up to Biden to decide whether to run. Look for that bludgeoning to come. Over the weekend, presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren said Biden needs to give an answer about what occurred. Another 2020 hopeful, Kirsten Gillibrand, said if Vice President Biden becomes a candidate, this is a topic he'll have to engage on further. Again, tipping their hands that they're not going to let go of this if Biden declares his candidacy. Ultraviolet, a women's advocacy group, tweeted that Joe Biden cannot paint himself as a champion of women and then refuse to listen and learn from a woman who says his actions demeaned her. Good intentions don't matter if the actions are inappropriate. Do better, Joe. And thank you, Lucy Flores, for coming forward. So this is Biden's conundrum. He has to deal with this. How bad will the damage be? Time will tell. All right. Now, when we come back, we're going to get into some other stuff, but Rick's about to push a button in about 10 seconds, and we're going to take a break for about 3 minutes or so. And when we come back, we're going to jump across the big pond and then a little pond and go to Australia. So do yourself a favor and stay tuned. We're going to be back shortly.
What you doing? I've been jumping through some hoops. Wanna get my body loose. Wanna tell you what to do. I've been running out of bounds like an animal struggling, looking for a diamond. I'm trying.
Whether we realize it or not, everyone has been impacted by addiction. We all have family members. We all have friends that have faced this demon. But there's hope. There's hope in recovery. There's hope when we work together to rise above the plight of addiction. I'd like you to join Mac Mullings every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. on Rise Above Radio on KOKC 1520 AM, where they talk about the hope that is available to all of us.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Welcome back in. Okay. So as a real quick programming reminder, coming up following me, FUBAR with Orty Packard running the show and special guest Martini Shark. You're going to want to stick around for that. That is bound to be fun. After that, there will be no Robinson and Wright, and America Off the Rails will slide up an hour into that time slot tonight. So just 3 hours of programming tonight. Still the best night anywhere. Do yourself a favor and stay tuned. So why do we care to talk about Australia? Yeah, I know I teased about it right before the break, but here's the big deal. Australia has now stopped making contributions to the UN's major fund for battling climate change. And this is according to their government and their prime minister. With a federal election looming, the government followed up on Prime Minister Scott Morrison's threat to, quote, not tip money into that big climate fund. Yeah. Since 2015, Australia has given $187 million to the fund, which finances projects in the developing world that cut emissions or promote resilience to climate impacts. The budget document said Australia has made its final contribution of $19.2 million in December. Around a third of Australia's overseas development budget is spent in the climate vulnerable Pacific, but the Australia Institute's Richie Merzian said multilateral institutions such as the Green Climate Fund were able to leverage private investment in projects in a way that the Australian government has struggled to do. The GCF has co-financing capabilities and regional coverage that Australia couldn't possibly provide, he said. He also noted that Australia's overall aid budget was dropping when measured against the growing economy. So in a statement, Oxfam Australia said the budget was a catastrophic failure of leadership in the face of the climate crisis, which is out of step with the majority of Australians and growing inequality, and it undermines the future of our Pacific neighbors. Now, look, we all know that the people that are behind climate change, global warming, whatever you want to call it, they're pumping this as, oh, Australia is horrible and blah, 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 blah. This Green Climate Fund has wasted so much money from so many countries that it's not even funny. The Green Climate Fund formed part of the compact between poor and rich countries that was the basis for the Paris Climate Agreement. Having spent nearly half of its original $10.3 billion allocation, the fund has signaled it intends to start raising new finances and in developed countries this year. By the time the hat is passed around, Australia's position may have changed. Who knows? The country is expected to hold elections next month with the majority parties sharply divergent on climate policy. In a speech last year, Shadow Foreign Minister Penny Wong said it goes without saying Labor would be willing to work with multilateral organizations, including the Green Climate Fund, to combat global warming. This week, Labor gave an indication of the domestic climate package it will take to the poll. The partial release indicated it will try to revive the National Energy Guarantee, formerly a government scheme that saw Australia's last Prime Minister overthrown in favor of Morrison. So you want to bring back a corrupt program that put the current Prime Minister in office because of its failure, not his. He was against it, and you want to bring it back. Brilliant. So the Labor version is more stringent and would cut emissions in the electricity sector by 45% on 2005 levels, and that would occur by 2030. The now dropped coalition government plan aimed for 26%. The Labor Party also pledged that half of all new cars sold would be electric by 2030. Polling puts the opposition Labor Party with leader Bill Shorten in the lead, according to Australian polls. We don't really care about that so much, but hang on. They're saying that our emissions grew by 0.9%, less than 1% last year. Their emissions grew by. I would say that's really good compared to countries like China, countries like India, places like the United States. We barely make a drop in the bucket compared to China and India. But yet they want us to take on the brunt of everything. So anyway, Morrison, the current Prime Minister, said that he's going to quit dumping money into this, And what he's going to do is he's going to redirect that money into Australia's environment. They're going to put more money into saving the Great Barrier Reef, to caring for it and keeping it around for generations to come. That includes pollution initiatives. It includes things like rebuilding the reef. It includes marine life, as far as conservation and growing it and things of that nature. He's actually talking about them, the Australian government, using Australians' tax dollars to take care of Australia. Wow, what a concept. What a concept. I wish we could get something like that here in the United States. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We have somebody here in the United States that wants to take care of us first. And just like in Australia, the liberal-minded people are against that. How dare us think of ourselves first? Damn you people. So anyway, that's what's going on over there. They're stopping completely. I'm betting that with this action, you're going to see more from President Trump in the way of cutting off funding into programs on climate change. Just write it down. We're going to bounce back home. And we're going to talk about the House Judiciary Committee voting to authorize a subpoena for the full unredacted report by Special Counsel Robert Mueller on Russian interference in the U.S. election and alleged obstruction of justice by President Trump. The committee took the action after Attorney General Bill Barr told Congress that he intends later this month to provide a report to lawmakers with certain material removed. Judiciary Committee Jerry Nadler from New York wanted to have the subpoena power ready in case Barr doesn't comply with Democrats' demands for the nearly 400-page report. The Constitution charges Congress with holding the president accountable for alleged official misconduct. That job requires us to evaluate the evidence for ourselves, not the Attorney General's summary, not a substantially redacted synopsis, but the full report and the underlying evidence, said Nadler in his opening remarks today, adding that so far, Barr has refused to work with him to help obtain access to materials the chairman said his committee is entitled to under the law. Yeah, so that's curious. That's going to shape up nicely. We're going to have Congress is going to subpoena the Justice Department and the Attorney General. We'll see. We'll see how that all pans out. We know for a fact, and I'm sure let me get to this because by law, the Attorney General has to redact parts of this. And Nadler knows this. We talked about this a little bit last week. He knows that there have to be parts of this redacted to protect innocent people. So what he's doing is he's just using the threat of subpoena. He's keeping this in his back pocket as a political chip to play if he doesn't get his way. So we'll see how that pans out for him. I'm guessing that Barr's going to present them with a redacted version, and that he will then have the subpoena issued at that point because he'll have already had approval by the committee to do so. So the resolution calls for the final Mueller report as well as any accompanying exhibits, annexes, tables, appendices, other attachments, and all evidence referred or referenced in the report, as well as underlying evidence collected, materials prepared, or documents used by Mueller's office. Isn't this funny? I mean, literally, the Democrats, when Mueller was appointed as special counsel, were foaming at the mouth. Mueller was going to be Trump's impeachment. He would be the undoing of Donald Trump. They assembled a dream team of left-leaning lawyers and prosecutors the likes of which our government has never before put together. And what happened? They found nothing. They found nothing because they indicted nobody. Now, in their digging, they found that some of President Trump's associates had other dealings that were criminal, and they're being prosecuted for that. Manafort, Cohen, etc. But if he could have indicted the president, he would have. End of story. So the measure also authorizes the committee to issue subpoenas for documents and testimony from 5 individuals: former White House counsel Don McGahn, former Trump advisor and White House strategist Steve Bannon, former White House communications director Hope Hicks, and former White House chief of staff Reince Priebus. Oh, and also former White House deputy counsel Ann Donaldson. So Nadler said that he believes these individuals may have received documents from the White House in preparation for their interviews with the special counsel. We also believe that these individuals may have turned this information over to their private attorneys. Now, during the meeting, Representative Ken Buck from Colorado introduced an amendment that would have eliminated grand jury information from the documents requested in the subpoena, which failed on a party line vote, of course. Representative Doug Collins, the ranking member of Judiciary for the Republicans, blasted the Democrats' decision to move forward with issuing subpoenas, saying that the move is reckless and that they're desperately searching for something on the president. He said this is all preemptive. 5 of the people listed in this subpoena have already been cooperating. He also argued that the subpoena for the Mueller report would command the Attorney General to break the law. This is what I was alluding to a little while ago. The Attorney General's entire mandate is to enforce the law, and he's expressly forbidden from providing grand jury material outside of the department with very limited and narrow exceptions. Congress is not one of those exceptions, and Chairman Nadler knows it, Collins said. Barr said in his letter last Friday to Nadler and Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham that he planned to release the report to Congress in mid-April, if not sooner, but also said there could and would be redactions. So, that's what's going on. We got a big fight going on there, and it is exactly what it is. Now, let's talk about something a little more outrageous going on in the House, okay? Because we know the Democrats took charge of the House, and this is exactly what we said was going to happen. It's going to be just investigation after investigation after investigation. So Democrats in the House of Representatives are demanding to know, now get this, okay, why Fox News did not publish a story. They want to know why Fox News didn't publish a story. Are we really ready? These are the same Democrats that assail Trump for assaulting the freedom of the press. They want to crawl into the orifices of Fox News as to why they did not publish a story prior to the 2016 election about an alleged affair years before between Stormy Daniels, the porn star, and Donald Trump. House Committee on Oversight and Reform Chairman Elijah Cummings wrote to former Fox News reporter Diana Falzone last month, demanding that she turn over any documents relating to Trump's alleged extramarital affairs. Why is the government trying to regulate what the press can or cannot or did or did not publish as news? In this case, did not. It's their prerogative to not publish a story for whatever reason they deem appropriate or necessary. How talk about hypocrisy. This is ridiculous. Look, I mean, he's demanding they turn. An article in the New Yorker last month alleged that Fox News executive Ken LaCourte spiked the story to protect Trump, a claim LaCourte has vehemently denied, saying the story lacked corroborating evidence and that the network was merely practicing responsible journalism, as were other outlets who declined the story as well. Are those other outlets being questioned or taken to task by Elijah Cummings? No, they are not. Only Fox News. So we'll see how that goes. That's pretty cool. That's fun, right? Hey, what else is fun? Colorado. Hey, guess what? Your governor is about to sign a bill that directs law enforcement officers to confiscate guns of people deemed to be a threat to themselves or others. Now, who's going to deem them to be a threat? I don't know. Let's dig and see if it says in here. Critics, including a few Colorado sheriffs, say the bill is unconstitutional, and at least one sheriff says he would have trouble enforcing it, even if it means a contempt citation or jail. Interesting. That would be the line of last resort, Weld County Sheriff Steve Reams told Fox News Tuesday morning, the day after the bill received final passage in the Colorado House. What I can see happening, he said, is if one of these orders is issued to my agency or to me, I want to have an in-camera review with the judge who issued the order and explain the difficulties. But that could result in a contempt charge from the judge if I refuse to serve said order. And contempt comes with a penalty, a fine, confinement in my jail, or it can just be the judge saying you're in contempt. And that furthers the judicial process. Reams said he believes the bill is wholly unconstitutional and said enforcing it would force me to violate my oath of office. Now, Colorado joins a growing list of states that are passing red flag laws, also known as extreme risk protection laws. But Sheriff Reams said Colorado's law is more aggressive than those in other states because it allows the immediate seizure of guns from a person who wasn't present at the initial court hearing. So you can actually be deemed a danger without even being informed and have your guns taken away from you. I think he has an argument here. This red flag bill actually requires or provides for what's called an ex parte hearing, so the person whose guns are being removed would not know that a court proceeding was happening until law enforcement showed up to serve that order and search for their guns. So not only would law enforcement be showing up to a person's home to serve them an order, but they would also be conducting a search warrant simultaneously to remove all the firearms that person either possesses or could have possession of. You can see that's a big overreach from the red flag bills that are passed in any other state. I haven't reviewed other states' red flag bills, so I don't know what those hold. The bill allows a family or household member of a law enforcement officer to petition the court for a temporary extreme risk order beginning January 1st, 2020. Whew, wow. So literally someone in your house, and again, I understand if there is an extreme danger, but why hide this? Why hide this? This is something that they should report. It's something they should go to court for. It's something that should be public, and the accused should be there. You have a right to face your accuser. So the petitioner must submit an affidavit signed under oath and penalty of perjury that sets forth facts to support the issuance of temporary order and a reasonable basis for believing they exist. The court must hold a temporary ERPO hearing in person or by telephone on the day the petition is filed or in the court day immediately following the petition, or on the day immediately following the petition being filed. After the court issues a temporary ERPO, the court must schedule a second hearing no later than 14 days following the issuance to determine whether the issuance of a continuing ERPO is warranted. Wait a minute. Wouldn't that be what a hearing's to do? I think the sheriff has a good point to make here. This goes on a little longer, and sadly, we're not going to get to everything because we're getting short on time tonight, which is a real shame because I had something really good for you coming up. But anyway, a reminder, FUBAR's coming right up, top of the hour. We're there. We're getting there anyway. After that, America Off the Rails, and then I'm sure Rick's going to bed early for a change on a Wednesday night. And we're just going to kick back and enjoy Martini Shark, who will be hosting with 40 Packard coming up next. So if you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you need new ones. But they and you are welcome with me every week right here on KLRN Radio for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. I'm the Grouch. Peace.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.